Welcome back to Sim Sunday, and as you can see, we're back in prepared 3D version 4.5 at London Heathrow International Airport, getting ready to fly this Virgin Airbus A330-300 of Aerosoft over to VC Bird International Airport in Antigua. Yes guys, as part of our Bucket Spade Series, we're off to the Caribbean again. And in fact, if all goes to plan, at the point this video is published, I hope to actually be in Antigua. And yes guys, I will have travelled to Antigua on this very service from Heathrow's Terminal 3. At the point of recording this video, Virgin Atlantic, like all of the airlines who used Terminal 3 at Heathrow, had moved over to the Queen's Terminal, Terminal 2. However, I'm hoping that Terminal 3 is opened again by October 2021, because I'm really looking forward to trying out Virgin's Club Lounge. Right, getting straight into scene brief, it's a fairly straightforward flight across the Atlantic. Departing on runway 27 left at Heathrow, it's a fairly direct westbound flight towards the Bristol Channel, Land's End, and then heading out across the Atlantic, passing just to the north of the Azores, and making landfall at the first Caribbean island of Barbuda, not Bermuda, Barbuda, which is part of Antigua. I'm expecting an RNAV approach into runway 07, so certainly not a precision landing at Antigua. And our alternate today is Rosette in Guadeloupe. So planned flight time is 8 hours and 35 minutes, climbing to initially 36,000 feet straight away. And given that we're flying the Airbus A330, I don't expect to be climbing any higher on this flight. So back in the flight deck on the left-hand seat, it's time to complete some final preparations before asking for pushback and taxi to 27 left here at Heathrow.
Virgin 1 retreat is cleared. VC Bird Airport is filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain altitude 12,000. Departure frequency is 125.625. Squawk 5065.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback. Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will. Set parking brakes. Waiting your confirmation for good engine start. Unlocking gear. Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
Taxi, hold short runway 27 left via taxiway Hotel Bravo 26 Alpha November 2 Echo November Bravo 2 Echo Virgin 1 retreat. Speedbird 828 continue taxi. Roger, Speedbird 828.
As we taxi to runway 27 left here at Heathrow, it's time to tell you a little bit about the scenery that I've got installed for this flight today. First of all, here at London Heathrow, I'm using UK 2000 Heathrow Extreme for prepared 3D version 4.5. As we depart Heathrow, you're going to see the scenery from Orbix EU England. And of course, for those of you who are regular visitors to the channel, you will know that I uninstalled Orbix True Earth some time ago due to the significant performance issues that I was having. And yes guys, I do believe that Orbix True Earth is absolutely gorgeous scenery, but really only designed for low and slow pilots. I've gone over to flying low and slow in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, but that's a subject for another day. Right, as you can see, we're approaching 27 left, and so I'll come back and give you a little bit more information on the scenery you'll see on arrival when we get over to Antigua.
1 retreat cleared for takeoff. Runway 27 left, surface wind 272 at 12.
Approach. 27 left. 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 27 left.
On runway 27 left.
Heathrow departure, Virgin 133 is climbing through 1,600 for altitude 12,000. Virgin 133 through departure, roger, altimeter 3021. Virgin 133, turn left heading 265, resume on navigation, climb altitude 12,000.
As we depart Heathrow on a westerly direction, that is the aircraft completely cleaned up. The flaps are up and the power or thrust levers are set to climb thrust, where they will remain for the rest of this flight. If you're wondering why I had the course setting at runway heading 272 instead of taking the command from the FMC, it's actually quite simple, and for those of you who are regular flight simmers, you'll no doubt have found the mismatch on some departures or certainly some SIDs. Should we get round the basic flaw in the flight sim, it is sometimes just easier to select runway heading and select the FMC or certainly the command from the FMC slightly later on in the flight, as I did in this flight departing Heathrow for Antigua. And talking about Antigua, when we arrive at VC Bird International, the scenery that you're going to see is from Tropicalsim, which is a scenery developer that I rate very highly, and one you'll have seen quite a lot on the channel, especially when flying in the Caribbean. Right, as we head west across the Bristol Channel with Wales to our right, Devon and Cornwall to our left, Land's End is straight ahead with the long crossing of the North Atlantic in front of us. So time to get comfortable, order a cup of coffee while monitoring the aircraft systems as we make our way across the North Atlantic to the Caribbean.
Hello there, Captain. Your coffee. Enjoy.
Manchester Control Piper, Golf Lima Alpha Echo Lima, is that Golf Piper, Golf Lima? New York Control, Virgin 133.
Virgin 133, descend and maintain flight level 300, expect flight level 260.
Descend and maintain flight level 300, expect flight level 260, Virgin 133.
Right, just over 7 hours after leaving the Cornwall coast overhead Land's End, the British Virgin Islands of Barbuda and Antigua come into sight. I was also correct in my initial assumption because we remained at flight level 360, 36,000 feet for the entire transatlantic crossing. I was also correct in my assumptions that we would be landing on runway 07 in Antigua. VC Bird International also doesn't have an ILS, so I'm going to program an RNAV approach into runway 07 while following ATC.
Virgin 133, for heading 130, Virgin 133. Virgin 133 has the runway in sight. Virgin 133, you are 9er,
1,000.
Altimeter setting. Approaching 07.
500.
Altimeter setting.
$400. 100 above. 300. Minimum 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard 5.
Apart from touching down before the lines, I was actually quite pleased with that approach. I love this Aerosoft Airbus A330-300 and I don't fly it enough these days. Anyway, welcome to Antigua VC Bird International Airport in the British Virgin Islands. Turning off the landing lights, turning on the taxi lights and of course engaging the APU. It's time to make the short taxi from the runway to the terminal. And as I said earlier in the video, the scenery that is being delivered here for VC Bird is from Tropicalsim. As you can see, the British Airways 777-200 from Gatwick has already arrived and no doubt preparing for the shuttle service across to St Kitts, which is of course a video that I previously recorded and uploaded to the channel. And as I pull onto stand, it is time to bring another episode of Sim Sunday to a close. The Real Airbus Pilot and I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And all that remains for us to say is wherever you're flying in your virtual world, don't forget to fly safe. Until the next video, thank you very much for watching.